Welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Make yourself comfortable because we're about to travel roughly 4,000 years into the past. We're heading straight into the dusty, sun-baked heart of the Giza plateau in ancient Egypt. It really makes you wonder, what fueled the men who actually built the wonders of the world? Okay, let's dive into this. We spend so much time marveling at the majestic pharaohs, right? Their gold, their gleaming limestone tombs. But today, we're stripping all of that royalty and gold away to look at the incredibly gritty, sweat-soaked reality of the workers on the ground. I want you to meet Nacht. For our journey today, I want you to step directly into his sandals. You are a 19-year-old laborer in 2500 BC. And, well, spoiler alert, there are absolutely no gap years here. I want you to truly imagine feeling the intense physical weight of the sun beating down on you. Imagine the taste of dry desert grit in your teeth and the agonizing strain in your muscles as you haul a massive 2-ton block of limestone up a steep mud brick ramp. Dawn in the village, waking up on the Giza plateau. Your day begins in the dim, dusty pre-dawn light. You wake up on a thin reed mat on a packed earth floor, and the very first thing you notice is the smell of dry dust mixed with the sharp tang of the communal bakeries lighting their morning fires. Now, we need to completely shatter a persistent myth right off the bat. Pop culture constantly tells us that these immense monuments were built by enslaved people being whipped under the sun. But the reality? You're a drafted laborer. And what's really interesting about this slide is it shows that the state is technically your master, but only for the season. You're fulfilling a civic duty, essentially paying a tax in sweat rather than grain. You aren't property, you're a vital, albeit temporary gear in a massive state construction machine. You live and work with your file. This is a tight-knit work gang of about 8 men, and together you all share a small, cramped 4-room house in the workers' village. When you roll off that thin reed mat in the morning, every single joint in your body throbs with what's known as a carpenter's ache. It's that deep, lingering pain of a man who literally serves as a human engine. You reach for your simple clothing, which is just a coarse linen loincloth. It might have been bleached white by the intense sun once, but now it's permanently stained gray by inescapable limestone dust. Which brings us to the math of survival, the breakfast run, and the ancient economy. Your first real task of the day is the breakfast run to the distribution center. See, in 2500 BC, you don't carry coins in your pocket. Unlike, say, a more modern historical budget, like a New York seamstress surviving on a 12-cent daily budget, your survival budget isn't calculated in money at all. It's calculated purely in rations. This is the stark poverty penalty of the ancient world. The state provides you with an exact daily budget for your labor. 2 jars of beer, several dense loaves of bread, and a handful of vegetables like green onions and garlic. That's it. That is the precise mathematical formula of your survival, the exact fuel allocated by the overseers just to keep your muscles moving for another day. Let's look a bit closer at the foundation of that ration, liquid bread. Keep in mind, you are definitely not grabbing a light, airy croissant at a local cafe. This is a thick, unfiltered sourdough beer that resembles a heavy porridge. Think of it as the ancient equivalent of an extreme energy drink. It's an absolute nutritional powerhouse, densely packed with yeast and essential B vitamins. Honestly, you don't really drink this for refreshment. You consume it almost as a morning medicine. It's a highly engineered, calorie-dense mixture designed specifically to put a sturdy backbone in you for the brutal morning shift ahead. Moving on to midday and invisible labor, the gritty reality of the construction ramp. 12. That is the grinding reality of your daily shift. 12 relentless hours spent functioning purely as a human engine. By midday, that Giza sun isn't just hot, It literally feels like a physical weight pressing down on your shoulders, like a golden hammer beating against the back of your neck. Sitting in a tiny sliver of shade beneath a towering mud brick ramp, you chew your dense bread incredibly slowly. You savor every single bite because you understand the math of your own body, and you know exactly how quickly your energy can give out. To survive this, you need a daily defense system. Alongside your bread, you're issued green onions, a clove of garlic, and other sharp-tasting vegetables. Now, these weren't provided just for culinary flavor, and they certainly didn't do any favors for your breath. But in the minds of the ancient Egyptians, these were potent medicine. The builders believed these sharp plants kept the blood strong and warded off bad air and sickness-causing miasma that they thought plagued the work sites. They were basically your internal shield against a really harsh environment. The physical toll of all this is just devastating. Our sources describe it so brutally. The patchwork underneath your skin, eyes permanently bloodshot from the dust, hands so calloused they feel like wood. History usually ignores this completely, right? To the high priests up in the temples, you're just a rustle in the distance, just a delivery mechanism for the pharaoh's immortality. But we have to confront the crushing reality of this invisible labor. And there's a massive dietary class divide at play here too. Your evening meal is often just cabbage water soup or lentil pottage, made by pooling your rations with your file. And maybe, if an overseer is feeling particularly generous, a scrap of dried fish from the Nile. Contrast that with the elite beef kings uptown. Red meat was an absolute luxury. The men actually grinding their bones into the sand to build the tombs rarely, if ever, saw it. Dusk and the heartbeat, the true builders of the Great Pyramid. So your 12-hour shift finally comes to an end. As the sun sets over the Sahara, turning that vast sky a deep, bruised purple, you finally get to rest. You sit down in the cooling air, your joints aching, and you finish your final allocated jar of thick, sustaining beer in the workers' village. So the crucial point is, you, Nacht, and the tens of thousands of drafted men living in these cramped villages are the true heartbeat of the pyramid. You are a survivor in the greatest civilization on Earth. You are the ones who know the true price of every single loaf of bread and the exact crushing weight of a limestone block. The hieroglyphs might only remember the names of the kings, but you were the ones who literally moved the earth. I really want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If hieroglyphs only remember kings, whose invisible labor built the world you sleep in tonight? It's a question that connects the grinding dust of 2500 BC directly to the hidden foundations of our own modern world. Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today. Keep asking questions, keep looking past the monuments, and I'll catch you next time.